everyone, welcome back to episode 26 of What the Devil. Today, it's Dylan and Marcel show. The two of us today, we're going to speak in pre-season predictions, season predictions, talking about De Ligt, the latest on Jared Branthwaite. Jared Branthwaite. But remember to listen on Spotify, Apple Podcasts. If you can't watch on YouTube, we're going to dig straight into it. So, Wednesday, news came out saying that United, or Tuesday or Wednesday, news came out saying United had bid around 30 million for De Ligt. You know, like United has already shown so far this summer, you know, we want to get bids in, even if they're low. The Euro bid we put in like weeks before he even signed, 2 bids for Branthwaite, reported bids for other players. But I was a little bit surprised to see us try and lowball Bayern for De Ligt, because United have been lowballing, for example, like with Jared Branthwaite, when the club have shown not so much of a desire to actually sell the player. Yeah. Whereas Bayern have been very open with the fact that they're happy to sell De Ligt for the right price. And I feel like, because the season starts in 3 weeks, first Premier League game, 2 weeks, as we were just saying before off camera, it's the Man City, Wembley, run it back, Community Shield.
Big game.
Our centre-back choice at the moment, Martinez, who hasn't, he's not returned to the club yet because he won Copa America. Facts. Euro only just signed. He's going to be in there for a couple of weeks, but ultimately, I don't know if you want to throw him in immediately, 18-year-old. Harry Maguire's just going back from injury. Luke Shaw, who you can say is a bit of like an auxiliary centre-back, also hasn't been training yet.
Yeah, definitely.
Victor Lindelof. It's Victor Lindelof, we want to sell him. Like, he's all right, but there's Victor Lindelof, and Kambwala's been sold. I'm a bit surprised that the club aren't kind of rushing to see if they can find an agreement for De Ligt, because I really don't want to do what we've seen before, where, it drags on to the final week of August, and then you end up paying, within $1 million of what they want anyway.
It's happened again, Dylan. It's happening again. Sorry to cut you there. No, you're 100% right. I'm a little bit worried what's happening. You just wonderfully gone through like all the different options, or lack thereof, quality options in the centre-back position. I mean, yes, Luke Shaw is available, and I still say he can be a left-sided centre-back for us, but Euro's young. I think he's got a high potential, and maybe he ends up playing a lot of the games for us this season. Whether that I think that benefits him, whether that's going to be, we're going to expect maybe mistakes from him in big moments throughout the season for us. I really do think Maguire's a little bit of a liability to the style of football that we want to play. Yes, a seasoned professional. I think conducted himself fantastically the second half of the season last season, but I think he's a little bit of a liability in terms of if you want to play front foot football, if you want to play on the halfway line. Again, Lindelof, we saw him at left back last season, no pace. We've seen him at centre back. He kind of was tidy, but again, you can't play on the halfway line with him. So you're right, you need that top quality player to come in, and we're kind of dragging our heels on it a little bit. Is it because we don't have money, maybe? It was reported that we don't have that much money to spend. We've brought players in. Do you think that could be the issue?
Yeah, we've raised about 35 mil, I think, so far, because Kambwala, Greenwood, Alvaro Fernandez, Donny van der Beek went for pennies. Money might be an issue, and I know, so David Ornstein today said that United are now in the position where they need to start selling to buy. So I can't remember the name of the Bayern guy. He just agreed to deal with West Ham. Manzouri, I think is how you say it. I'm horrible at name pronunciations. You know what I'm on about, yeah. So Ornstein said that West Ham have agreed a deal for him. It's about 16.5 million. And United are interested, but they need to sell Wan-Bissaka in order to sign him. I don't know if that's specifically just because they don't want to buy a right back until they know one's going, or if there's no money left in the bank account. Because 52 million for Euro. This is a side thing. The Euro thing, I think, has been nuts in the last week. How everyone's quoting it at like 70, 80 million.
Yeah, I've seen that.
This is a complete sidetrack, but it's been really annoying me. So
how much? Yeah, go on.
Euro's fee was 52 million quid, plus, I believe, about 6 more million in bonuses, which adds up to 58, 59 million. It's a lot for a centre-back.
It is, yeah.
But, I watched him play one half of football now for United, and he was class. Comfortable on the ball, easy with both feet. There was that ping to
Sancho, I think it was.
It was
to the left side of the pitch.
To the left-hand side of the pitch, which was lovely. And if you've got Lisandro Martinez from the left ping to the right side of the pitch, it's nice, good options. And he's really tall as well.
Yes.
Like, he's like 6'3", and you can tell he's 6'3". This is what Yusuf was saying last week. Sorry, but that was a quick curveball. But back to De Ligt. It may be a money thing, but why would you bid that if you know it's going to get rejected? So Bayern have been opened, it seems, in saying they're happy to sell him for about 42 million. And I'm sure you can kind of get that down maybe a little bit, maybe to like 37 plus 6 mil bonuses plus 10 more bonuses or something. But I don't understand why the club would bid that little, like 30 million, for a player who you know they're just going to reject it. With Everton, I understand, because you agree to deal with him, as in the player, Branthwaite, and then you just try and lowball Everton because Everton have financial problems. Bayern Munich don't have financial problems.
Exactly, yeah.
They've not been hostile to United like Everton have.
Facts.
It feels like you're needlessly kind of poking the bear, being like, we're only going to give you 30, when they're like, come on, we're open to negotiating.
Okay.
It's just I'm sure they have a plan.
Yeah.
There's some kind of plan, but it just feels a bit weird.
No, I agree. I feel like it's maybe starting a culture of us being the A side, you know, in longer term, saying, listen, if we want a player, we're gonna go a little bit lower than your option to buy right now, and it could be something like that. It could be, you know, starting a potential, you know, anytime we want a player, we're gonna get it for the price that we feel, you know, is comfortable for us. But I don't know. It does seem a bit weird. I mean, they've done it again, like you said, with Jared Branthwaite. Bayern Munich have bought Elise. You know, they've spent money, so maybe they might need the money. Could be something from that particular angle. But let's see what happens. You know, we've gone for other options as well. You know, I think, you know, hopefully in the future, if we can't get our A option, we go straight away to the B option, and we're able to maybe look, because I think Euro wasn't meant to be the main target. It was meant to be Jared Branthwaite.
I think Euro was a really much of an out of the blue.
Yeah.
He's not even on our list, but
so
if we've got the chance, we may as well.
So it's
take
one
a
of.
shot.
I feel like it could be a situation where if you don't get your A option, you put your hands in other pies and say, look, we'll go here as well at a price that's comfortable for us, and we'll see if we can get X player instead of the A option, and that might be a situation with De Ligt, and of course, because we've got Euro as well, we need more centre backs though. We really do. I think it's a combination of problems as well, because we need better quality. You know, players need to get sold. I think that's the biggest issue this window, Dylan. That really might be the issue. We need to get rid of players.
Yeah, we do need to get rid of players. I mean, I think that's been established. So, raised, like 35 mil so far. Another option that I want to pose to you, Marcel, in recent days is Trevor Chalobah. So Chelsea have done something that Chelsea seem like they just do these days, and they've made a statement by completely exiling him from the squad. They've gone no pre-season tour, nothing. They're like, in terms of sales, they've got rid of all their leverage immediately, because they basically just gone, we don't want him. Like, they're not going to pretend to keep hold of the player or anything, blah, blah, blah. But he's a player who I think, personally, I think it's been quite good for Chelsea since they broke through. Most Chelsea fans see him as, you know, quite a quality player, not necessarily, you know, Euro or whatever, like future one of the world's best, blah, blah, blah. But he's proven Premier League standard. He knows what he's doing. And he can play on the right side centre-back, but you can also fill in a right-back.
Yeah.
And if we're looking to sell Wan-Bissaka, I think personally it's about 25 mil is the price that's being quoted, but considering Chelsea have immediately got rid of all their leverage from minute one by freezing him out, I think that genuinely could be a steal from United. That's kind of one of those deals I think that's pop up during the window, that if, you know, we're deciding we're not going to pay more than 33, 34 million for De Ligt, and we're not going to Bayern's price, and you say option plan B, if also the Branthwaite thing doesn't work out, which I just get the feeling it won't, and we might try and sign him next summer instead because he's a kid. I really think Trevor Chalobah could be a quality, like, nice little addition to the squad.
No, I agree. I mean, definitely an upgrade on Lindelof. I think Chelsea actually got the player that I was talking about that we should have got for free. I think Tosin from Fulham, maybe a couple of weeks back, which would have been an option for us as well on a free. But, you know, like you say, and if we do the low ball thing, like what you're saying as well, in terms of, okay, you can't get your main target, but get something more affordable. I think it's going to have to be, you know, shopping in a Lidl, shopping in a Netto kind of situation where we're going for the best quality in a lower market. Because I do think it's going to be a little bit of a financial issue. But like you said, right back, I think he can play in centre defensive mid as well. So it could be something that we look into. I do think that's a possibility.
Do you reckon that, so United's strategy so far has the whole low balling thing, because it seems to be a bit of a theme in terms of, you know, United, they start low. Do you think that's Ineos's plan to get rid of the tag that's been on United for 10 years? It's almost because the tag on United's been on, you can make them overpay if you really want them to, like Anthony, Mount to an extent, blah, 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 blah. Do you think Ineos are almost going the other extreme and going, we're going to try and really underpay,
Yeah.
to then, but the overall idea is to get back to the middle, to get back to being like a more, you know, we're not going to overpay, but we are going to be reasonable, like almost being unreasonable at the moment, to try and get rid of the overly reasonable tag, or just like the over expenditure tag.
No, I agree with you. I agree with you, and I understand what you're saying. I think they're trying to change the culture of how we're looked at in the market. We need to be looked at as the A side. We're such a massive club, you know, Dylan. So I agree with you. I think it's going to be a tactic that might happen for time to come as well. And instead of making it so obvious our main target, I know we've got head of communications and there's so many people above now, you know, Ten Hag working for the football club. I think, you know, if option A is not there, we go for option B. You know, we're always maybe going to start low, and then if we can't get X player, you know, at that lower price, we might bid for someone else, just to show the club that you know, we have other options and we're happy to go and get another player in. And I think, you know, they're very selective with, if they want this player and he looks like he's generational or he's going to be top quality, they're going to overpay, or they're going to happy to compete against other clubs like they have done with Real Madrid. And we were saying a couple of weeks ago, you know, on the show that, you know, they were acting like a big club going in for Euro the way that they did, and they've executed it. So it's just about those outgoings now, you know, and can they accept maybe taking lesser money, you know, just the likes, well, they have really, I guess, Greenwood, you know.
Yeah, Greenwood, I think they were sensible with that, because they were asking 40 million. It's about 20, I think it's about, what, 23, 24 million guaranteed, plus another 3-4 million in, or 6-7 million in add-ons, plus 50% sell-on. I think ultimately United have been smart with that one. I think that's what they're going to have to be like that. I think we did really well with Kambwala, about 10 million. Yes. That's for a player who only played, what, 6-7 months in the senior team, coming through, 1 year left on his contract. That is, I think, something that they need to be commended for. Is that was good. And also that deal came out of nowhere and quite quickly. 10 million in the grand scheme of things. Before, I think Kambwala may have gone for, well, we would have tried to keep him, and then would have gone on a free the next summer. Yeah. So outgoings, you're right. I think they need to be realistic.
Okay, so ideally, would you pay full price for the Ligt now? Would you pay it just now, just to get out of the way? And do we need to get another centre back on top of, you know, potentially coming in?
I reckon going in with 30 million is a bit low, because in my eyes, like, let's say I was Bayern Munich, that'd be a crazy turn of events, and I showed United that I was really, really up for negotiation, saying, yep, we are happy to sell him. Like, we are going to speak to you. We're not going to sit and close the door and make you pay 42 million, blah, blah, blah. And they've kind of allowed United to then also agree a deal on personal terms with De Ligt and spoken to De Ligt, all of that. Then going 30 million, I would feel ever so slightly, I don't know if insulted's the right word, but it's like, I was trying to be reasonable with you, and then you've immediately gone, no, we're going to bid this. And it's like, why? You know I'm going to reject that. You know I'm trying to be reasonable here. Why are you then lowballing me so much so immediately? I just, like, there might be other stuff at play. Like, I have no clue at the end of the day. But part of me feels a bit like, why would you do that? Why not go 35? Because you know they want 42 plus add-ons, I think, is what the general fee is. Yeah. Why go 30? It's so low.
12 plus.
Like, I don't understand the club trying to piss Everton off. Because Premier League rival, Everton need the money. Like, United had the leverage there, but it's a lot more mutual, it seems, between Bayern and United. So why would you go and try and annoy them by bidding so low? That's just my only gripe with it. But yes, I think also because in the situation that I think United need another centre back really soon. Yeah, yeah. Like De Ligt wouldn't be available until Xerxes was available, because obviously they're both at.
In Holland?
Yeah, both with Holland. And it's been said that Xerxes won't fly to the US, so he'll return and he'll go straight to Carrington when he starts training. Right. So De Ligt wouldn't be there for another week or two anyway. But if it goes to the end of August, and like, it's going to end up with the same situation that we did before. Like, I feel like United need to be more reasonable. And it has been said that certain execs, I don't know who, have stayed in Europe, in Manchester, because they're going to be flying around Europe doing these deals, either sales or whatever, or incomings, which is good. Yeah. I know, like, Barada, Wilcox, Ashworth, Brailsford, all of that, they have flown to the US.
Is it?
Yeah. But I think, you know, United, I think they're still on track this summer. I think we're doing well. And I think the overreaction of not having an announced player for a week, like, chill out a little bit.
I'm worried. I can't. I did it.
But like, I know we want to hear that. Here we go again. We want that David Ornstein. Here we go again. New signing. The Euro one was, it was beautiful. But you know, I think it's just like I'm on the edge of. It's still fine for now, but I'm gonna get worried if in the next week or so we're not seen to be flexible with the lit thing.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, my biggest issue now is the outgoings. Like I say, I mean, that's Eriksen hasn't left. Casemiro. If we enter the Premier League season with Casemiro, Dylan, that's a massive issue for me. I mean, I don't think he's going to be able to play all the games next season. Even in the Rangers game, we were speaking before, like this, it just didn't look like right for me personally. He didn't. So Cass maybe has to go. Maguire for 80 million on the bench. I don't think he starts ahead of Euro. I don't think he starts ahead of Martinez. Or if you don't want to get rid of Maguire, then what about Lindelof? You mentioned Lindelof. You mentioned all the centre back options. I would leave Evans. I think he was fantastic last season and very useful in terms of showing the standard of what it means to be a Man United player. So you maybe keep him, and then like we say, Luke Shaw can stay as well. Maybe there's an issue at left back at play as well. Because Malacia, I don't know if he's fit. And did he get brought? Did he get taken?
So Malacia didn't, because United said he's continuing to stay on like a bespoke program.
Okay.
So I feel like it was maybe the case of he's getting fit, but he's realistically not fit enough to throw him into a game yet. And then which is crazy.
Yeah, and that's got to be over a year now, or must be coming a year that he's been got.
Yeah. Well, he didn't play the whole of last season.
And then we're getting rid of Wan-Bissaka, who, and by the way, Euro's got the scoop tackle trait. I think Yusuf was saying it last week.
Yeah, he does.
He's got the scoop tackle trait in that Rangers. He's got the scoop tackle. Yeah, he's got. Legs. Why would you want to get rid of Wan-Bissaka? So there's a lot of predicaments for us to sort out, especially in that defensive line, where at one point, a couple seasons ago, it was a fortress. At home. Yeah. So they have to get maybe 2 centre backs in. Otherwise, you drastically change the style of football that you're playing with 1 or 2 substitutions. If Martinez has been brilliant at Copa America, by the way, I know you most probably know that as well. He's been fantastic, but if you take him off or you take Euro off, now you can't play, your front foot football, or you have to change it. And don't get me wrong, Jason Wilcox, it seems they will put together a game model where, against superior teams, we maybe play conservative football like we did against the FA Cup game, against City, like we was talking about. And we're most probably going to see that, in 2.5 weeks or so time, or 3 weeks time, against City, the important game coming up, Community Shield. But I just really feel like you're saying, they should pay the right money for a centre-back just to bring him in now so we can get him working with the squad.
Yeah, so you're talking about outgoings. So I'm gonna well, not quiz you. I've got a question for you. So you're in the scenario where you're Dan Ashworth, and you have to sell 3 United players, but only 3 United players. You can't sell more, can't sell less. Who would you pick to sell? Bear in mind, you've got to think about how much you can get for them, how much losing them would or wouldn't impact the squad, and how much a replacement would be needed, etc., etc. Who are like the 3 players that you think those 3 are the ones who are the 3 highest priority that need to go?
Wow. So I think one thing to look at maybe is the value, how much you can get for said players. You would maybe want to go for a player or 2 or 3 players that you can get maximum value for in comparison to the squad as a whole. So I would say one of those players definitely has to be maybe Maguire. I think you can maybe get at least maybe 40, 50 million in and around that 30 to 50 million in and around that region for Maguire, which would be, unfortunately, our squad. The Glazonomics means that we've been so poor with being able to retain value or to get good value out of players in terms of selling players, and Maguire was under that system, that Glazonomics system. So, he's definitely in that category of haven't been able to retain the value, and we paid 80 million up front, which is crazy.
Yeah, I ignore the Maguire, the Maguire fee these days, because it's so far gone.
Oh my!
It's so far gone. Yeah. We paid 80 million. I'm like, yeah, I've dealt with the mental, not trauma, but the mental ridiculousness of the fact that we paid 80 million for him. Because he's not necessarily a bad player, but he's not an £80 million player. So you got Maguire as one of them.
Yes, please.
Who's next?
I'm gonna say there's Lindelof next. Oh, Eriksen's on a free, but you won't get much value from him. And Lindelof, you might not get much value off him, to be honest with you. And I think maybe I would still say Sancho. I would really still say Sancho. Again, a ridiculous transfer fee, but maybe he shows that value. I've said before in the past, he's the English Neymar to me. You know, really bags and bags of ability. He just hasn't shown it for some reason. I think there's a lot of off the field issues with him, but I think you can maybe get again in the region of 30 to 50 for him. That's two maybe that you could get 30 to 50 for. And you know, again, a huge set of wages off the books, similar to Maguire. And someone that doesn't work with Ten Hag, and I think Ten Hag's got to be one of the most important players in the team or at Man United right now.
He's the manager,
exactly,
isn't he?
Yeah, so I'll put Sancho in that.
Sancho, you got a third one.
And then, wow, because I think we need midfielders, and McTominay. I'm actually imagine I was just talking about that we need to get rid of Casemiro, but I would keep Casemiro if it meant that you could get rid of a McTominay. Because I think you get more money for a McTominay, Dylan. I don't know. What do you think? Do you get more money for Casemiro or McTominay?
Oh, McTominay's got much higher value. Because it's not necessarily the case of, like, you may be able to fetch the same or a similar-ish transfer fee for the two of them, but Scott McTominay, I'd say, is a much easier sell. So let's say you wanted to try and get rid of McTominay. You've got half the Premier League, I think, will snap him up quite easily. Jose Mourinho, I'm sure, would be happy to take him at Fenerbahce. I wouldn't necessarily agree with the point of keeping Casemiro to sell McTominay, but he would be definitely the much easier sell.
Yeah, so I based on that as well, and just the fact that I want to amass maybe at least, I think with those three you could get maybe close, you're pushing back to 100 million again, hopefully more. And again, I think McTominay maybe, you know, 15 to 30 million or 15 to 35 million with a McTominay there, and hopefully that pushes you up into that 120 million bracket, you know, with those three players sold. And okay, his wages are not that strong. Pure profit as well, I believe, as well. So good for the good for the FFP and all that and the book. So those three players, I would say. It's still a lot of things to readjust with the squad as well. And it's one in each line, one in the defensive line, one in the midfield line, one in the forward line. But, you know, and you can get a proper good midfielder in there as well now. Somebody that can properly complement Kobbie.
A destroyer type, you think? Because before you've mentioned Kante. It's like well, not necessarily Kante specifically, but
Kante-esque,
like that archetype of player.
Yeah, facts, man. And on top of that, Casemiro is still there to learn from. Even if you're not going to get many games, he's still in the building to learn from that, whoever that player is. If it's an Agate, you know, he's in the building to learn off Cas, so it would be beneficial for everyone.
So you think Maguire, Sancho, McTominay? Would be your three? Yeah,
please.
So I would agree with the Sancho one. Like, I think realistically he's I know I've said before I think it's McTominay, but now that Sancho's back with the squad, I'd say Sancho is the easiest high value asset to let go of. Because you've got, like, Sancho already wasn't in the squad last year, and we did struggle kind of up front a bit, especially creativity wise, but since then we've got Xerxes, who seems to be a kind of in the same way as Højlund, not necessarily as much, but kind of like a rough diamond type player. Who, you know, they've got a lot of qualities, and, you know, they just need kind of refining, holding. You've got Ruud van Nistelrooy to do that for both of them. And then, so you brought in him, but also you've got Ahmad now, who towards the end of last season showed that, you know, he's definitely got a goal in him.
See the goal of Rangers?
That goal of Rangers was lovely. The goal he scored against Newcastle last season was lovely, and all the ones he scored for Sunderland. But he's also a fairly creative player, Ahmad. We know this, especially against Rangers. He was going both left and right flank, which was, cutting in on the left and also going down the right flank, which was lovely. So I think Sancho coming in, the one thing you'd say is, you know, he's a creative player, because he is a creative player at the end of the day. But he's also really easy to get rid of because he already wasn't there in the squad last season. And if you discount it from last season, we've already added Ahmad into the team. And then also we've got Xerxes as well. I feel like Sancho is an easy player to get rid of if you can get 35, 40 million for him, which I think is fair value, because he's still a good player at the end of the day, Sancho. Like you said, you think he's the English Neymar. He showed against PSG for Dortmund. He's still got, you know, he's got that spring in his step. But it just doesn't seem like it's there when he's got United shirt on. So I agree with Sancho. Maguire, I wouldn't be against selling him, but I feel like we should sell Lindelof, because although Lindelof might not retain as much value, he might be, 15 million or something. Maguire might get a little bit more, I don't know. But I'd rather have Maguire in the building than Lindelof.
Yes.
Because, you know, we still need leaders in this team. And we lost Varane. And we have Martinez at the back. But, you know, you need multiple leaders at the back. You've also got, like, Luke Shaw, etc., who are, as far as I believe, is a leader. But then if he's not playing because he's injured, what knows? I felt like keeping Maguire there because I think he's a decent safety net to have as well, Maguire. You know, if you need an extra man, you've got big Maguire to come on 10 minutes ago, defend your lead. Maybe Yoro's not having a fantastic game, or he's already played the Europa League on Thursday, so you need someone else coming on Sunday. Maguire's still all right. He knows what he's doing. But if we do play a higher line next season, which is what I expect, could be a little bit of a problem for Maguire. But overall, I think I would rather keep him and sell Lindelof. And last one, he says McTominay. As I said, I don't necessarily know if selling McTominay to keep Casemiro
it's a great idea.
Is a great idea, because although you can have Casemiro to learn off all of that stuff, he's crap these days. I like even watching him pre-season, he just looks bad. I know it's pre-season, but it's luggish, and it's the same lug that was there towards the end of the last campaign. And although you can say, oh, Casemiro can be a fifth, sixth choice centre back if you need, if we're not going to sign another centre back, I'd rather have just Casemiro. I wouldn't like to see Casemiro stay because McTominay's leaving. I wouldn't be against McTominay going for you to get someone in, but I still think Casemiro needs to go regardless. But I don't think I'd put either of them in my top three.
Can I just say something? So you mentioned Antony, and that completely slipped my mind. He's completely gone under the radar for me. In passing, you was meant to say Ahmad, but you said Antony. I was thinking, what do you think about Antony? I'm not trying to influence your three, but what do you think? Because you said Lindelof, you said
Antony.
Sancho.
I wouldn't want to sell him, but that's because I would want to see him go on loan.
Right.
Ultimately, I don't want to. Ultimately, I think he shouldn't be at United.
In
terms of the caliber of player that we did and the talent we do now have. Ahmad, who's much more two-footed than him. Xerxes, Højlund, all these boys, especially like Højlund left-footed, Ahmad left-footed. We're starting to have left-footed cover. We don't need someone who's so left-footed at Antony. But I'd want to see him go on loan to La Liga or something to try and increase his value a bit, so we can then sell him for more. Because if we sell him now, any club's just going to go, all right, we'll take him for 20 mil because he's been really poor at United the whole time. There's been the whole off-field stuff with him as well, blah, blah, blah. But if he was to go on loan to, I don't know, like Real Sociedad or something for a season and show that, there is a bit about him, because there is a bit about him at the end of the day. There's a bit about most footballers, because even though they don't look good professionally, they're still professional footballers. I'd want to see him go on loan to then increase his value. He's still got like 2-3 years left on his United deal, and then we sell him. So I wouldn't put him in my top 3 United sales.
Fair enough.
But I still got a third one.
I
should have thought about this, because
Sancho, Lindelof, and
I know I put Eriksen up there, but as you said, you can't really retain any value.
You can't. You wouldn't want to sell Wamby. Wamby's wonderful. I can't believe the club.
I don't mind the idea of keeping Wan-Bissaka, because I think I said last week, keeping Wan-Bissaka just creates another issue, and you have to buy another player. You want to sell players where you don't like I said for Sancho, you want to sell players that you don't have to then buy a replacement for, because all you're doing is adding to the list of transfer targets you need. Considering how many positions we already need at the moment, where sales aren't even required, like at centre back, like in midfield, having to sign another player because you sold another player, it's just extra work.
Okay, so we've got 6s in Toby. He looks like he's got there.
Oh, he looks class.
Yeah, he looks really good.
Yeah, Toby Collier looks really neat player.
So I'm trying to give you a reason to put Casemiro in your 3. So you got Toby, Cas, and if we sign Amrabat back for 25 million, you got 3 6s there. You can get maybe rid of Cas and then buy another 6.
I think ultimately, you are right. I think Casemiro will probably go in there if we were to, so Amrabat clearly wants to come back to United. We're not paying his 20 million thing. No one's going to pay that. But I reckon if we can get him for 10, 15 million, I'd take that. And if Toby Collier can have a bit of a, not necessarily, he's not playing 35, 40 games, but, if he's had, the season Garnacho had 2 years ago. That kind of season. If Toby Collier can come on to that, with 60 minutes, we're 2-0 up against Bournemouth at Old Trafford, and the game's going nicely. Put Toby Collier on, let him have a bit of the ball. If he's got Martinez behind him, Bruno in front of him, Colby next to him. Maybe it is Casemiro, because you get 15, 20 million for Casemiro. Best case scenario, 20, 25 mil for Casemiro, 40 for Sancho, and 15 for Lindelof.
That's all right.
I think that's, if we are bringing another centre back anyway, I think selling Lindelof, that's fine, because the replacement's already on the list. Casemiro going, if we have, let's say, Amrabat or someone comes in, and then we have Toby Collier coming up through the academy, and then Sancho, as I said before, he's already been replaced. so we don't even need to think about replacing those. I think
Solid.
that's my three.
Yeah, that's a solid
Yeah.
three.
I think we're along the same lines though,
Mm.
of like, you know, you want to get rid of players who don't necessarily aren't going to cause another further need in the transfer market, especially because we're in the US.
Yeah.
As soon as we come back from the US, it's Man City.
My days.
It's the Man City game. I don't know how to predict it.
I think it's going to be another win for United if I want to see
You reckon what? 90 minutes, 120 minutes, pens? Is it 120 minutes? It'll probably be.
It might be straight pens, I think. I'm not sure. But I think in the 90 minutes, I think it will be, again, the exact same thing, counter-attacking football, and hopefully maybe a 1-0 or 2-1. It'll be a slower paced game, though. I don't think everyone's going to be...
Do you want another counter-attacking display, though? Considering that the whole point about this season is is meant to be a pre-season where Ten Hag's starting to get what he needs. Would you want, as an avid fan of Ten Hag yourself, would you want to see Erik Ten Hag immediately step back to the performance he put against Man City at the end of the FA Cup final, or would you want to see some more dominance?
So it's a great point. I think with Ten Hag's philosophy, the idea is always to play, you know, high risk football with a potential high reward. But what I think the game model that's being created now is going to be similar to what it's similar to what Real Madrid do with Ancelotti. Ancelotti, when he played against a superior team in Man City, he was happy to play counter-attacking football, you know, in the Champions League a couple of years back. And because he's got Galacticos or players that are capable enough to play all styles or all types of football regarding the situation, whatever is presented to them, they're competent at doing it. So I think the new game model, because we haven't seen it yet, especially active in a live season, you know, Premier League, all the cup competition scenario. We haven't seen what the game model is yet, but I think what it will be in my mind, and I'm predicting it early now, is that against the superior teams, we'll be counter-attacking, and against inferior teams, we're going to play what Ten Hag wants to play and risk and play a lot of high-risk football, still with a bit of turnovers and control in there, but against the better teams, and I think there's going to be like maybe 4 or 5 teams that are better than us when you look at the squad. That's also coming off topic here, Dylan. In terms of how difficult it's going to be for us next season, I think Ten Hag's job is quite difficult because I'm pretty sure there's about 4 or 5 squads that are already better than ours anyway. So for him to, I really do feel like that, Dylan. And I think his task is to reach top 4, but you know I think it's going to be extremely hard to do that because of that.
Yeah, but. Actually, who do you think of the squads that are better than us?
So Man City, definitely.
Man City, yeah.
Yeah, Arsenal's.
Yep.
Liverpool's, even though they got the new manager in, Slot or whatever his name is, Arnie, he's not going to be, you know, it's going to be
pound for pound at the moment. It's still a better team.
Yeah, the whole team, the team as a whole. Chelsea have so many footballers at their football club.
I never know what's going on at Chelsea. I never understand. Like, I saw like a new post being like, "Oh, what did you think of XYZ's first 45 minutes?" I was like, who? Who is he? Not to like insult who Chelsea is signing or whatever, but half the time I'm just like, I don't know half this starting 11 because I'm pretty sure they didn't have these players last season. And turns out it's just because they were injured for 8 months the season before, and it's like, I can't judge Chelsea's squad because I don't know who's in it.
They got a new goalkeeper, I think, or they're trying to sign a new goalkeeper. They just got that goalkeeper just a second ago. They're going out. So. But just because of the sheer amount of footballers available to them to choose from, and Ten Hag was mentioning it just before the end of the season, or some point in the last few weeks, he was saying he wants robust footballers next season, and he really wants to improve the strength and depth. And I think that was post the City game. So those are the two kind of attributes. I'm looking at in terms of that's what we need to improve on. That's why the outgoings have been so important for me. But so I'm going to put Chelsea in there. They might not be successful because there's going to be fights in that changing room, in that squad, because nobody's going to be able to play.
What happens in the game of the day against Wrexham?
No.
But 3 minutes in, Levi Colwill started like fighting one of the Wrexham players. So they're playing League 2, League 1 Wrexham.
Yeah.
Who, props to them. They've had their all rise and everything. But you're at a friendly game. Like, you know how we played Wrexham last summer?
Yes.
They played Wrexham and Levi Colwill 3 minutes into the game, started fighting one of them.
See?
And obviously you've had the whole Enzo Fernandez fiasco as well. Chelsea, I never understand. I will never understand the football club.
They've still got Lavia, who I haven't seen.
I'd back us against Chelsea.
I would.
I don't necessarily think they're in a superior team. They're not too inferior, but I wouldn't. Like, I'd be disappointed if we tried to play back foot counter-attacking football against Chelsea.
Yes, especially at home. At home, I feel every time I go to the stadium, I feel like we're going to win. I don't care who it is. I don't care.
Oh yeah, you've got to. You can't go there and go, oh, we're going to lose.
Yeah.
Like, you've got to be positive at Old Trafford.
Yeah, but away from home, I feel like that's where the money's made, or that's where you earn your crust, and especially for the top teams right now performing, you know, the Arsenals and the Cities, they have like 2 or 3 massive games in a season against those teams that are close to them, you know, and then they're competing against, and they might have to alter their style. Arsenal might have to be a bit more conservative against City away from home, and vice versa, or against maybe Chelsea. But I feel like Newcastle are a little bit in that bracket. They're not completely a better squad than us, but the way they fit together is going to be, and the way that they're in their process, the ability to purchase players, I think, is a bit better. They have a better striker than us as well, and Alexander Isak, I think he's just fantastic. I mean,
he's a great player, but
yeah. But again, that's still questionable. I think Tottenham's still questionable as well. Villa, they've got Champions League football to handle now, so it's going to be a whole different scenario that they're dealt with. But again, I would put them in and around it. So I feel like there's so many questionable teams there. And we were kind of doing it on the bare bones last season. Nothing, you know, injured, decimated squad, and we kind of fought to a kind of position, and we still haven't got these outgoings. So I think Ten Hag's task is very difficult.
It's not going to be an easy season for Ten Hag. There was a report I don't know how true it is, but there was a report from The Guardian this morning or last night, one of the two, because they're in the US now. I can't understand when these actual articles come out, but saying that Ratcliffe / the board, whatever, haven't said that top 4 is a goal for Ten Hag.
Wow.
They're saying more so we want to see like sustained development. So it's not going to be like if you don't get top 4, you're out.
What do you think about that? Sorry, what do you think about that? Do you want Man United to get top 4 this next season?
Do I want them to? Yeah.
What do you think about?
But as in, like, is it make or break?
Yeah.
I understand the sentiment behind why they've done that. I think it's a little light. I think, you know, if he doesn't get top 4, he should be again. Because if he doesn't get top 4 this season, he's then in the final season of his contract next season.
Yeah.
I think if he doesn't get top 4 this season, I reckon it'll be a case of that's like your one let off. For example, like I don't think it's a sackable offence. So let's say he finishes 10th, that's a sackable offence.
Yeah.
But let's say, you know, we finish 5th, 2 points out of top 4, but we've shown ourselves to be strong, consistent, good players, and stuff looks good. Then I'm fine with it. Ultimately, yeah, I like top 4 is not a make or break, I don't think. But so what they have said is that what they want to see, you know, is progression, style, all these buzzwords that we've been reading about for the last 2 years. But they're buzzwords, but they have a point. There's a reason those words are being used. But yeah, I don't think it's wrong. But I don't want it to be like Ten Hag's got a free pass this season. Like I know you've said this before as well. You know, you're expecting big things. You need him to perform. Because ultimately you won't be happy with Ten Hag. Because at the end of the day, we want to win. We're United fans who want United to win. We're not Ten Hag fans that want Ten Hag to win.
Facts. And and just to add to that, I definitely it's not a make or break season, and I could maybe give him a bye this season, but I'm expecting trophies. He's spoken very eloquently on it and you know, aggressively on it. That's what I do. So wherever trophy it is, I'm happy to celebrate a trophy. I support this club. I love this club.
Yeah,
any trophy that we pick up, but I want to see him. And that's why he always plays the strongest team all the time. In any cup competition it is, go and try to win it. You know, get to the last stages, get us into finals again this season. But I feel like, you know, like you mentioned Europa League there, I think he has to go and win that. He has to find us a way to get into the Champions League. I don't think I can suffer another Europa League season next season.
At the end of the day, I'd be fuming if we didn't get Champions League next season.
Yeah, so
in some shape or form.
Yeah, so if it's not the top 4 avenue, I think at some point throughout the season he has to decide, I'm gonna, you know, when it gets to January or so, he has to say, okay, I'm looking at this kind of situation now. I'm looking at X amount of games left. Do I, you know, start to play a weaker side in the cup games to try and focus all on the league to secure top 4, or do I play my strongest side continuously? For, you know, am I going to approach both as best as I can, or do I focus on Europa League to make sure I win that to get us in the Champions League?
Well, he is going to go all out for both. It's what he's shown. So what we showed in his first season when we were in the Europa League.
Yeah.
He played his strongest team all the time. I think, like, when he didn't need to make changes, as far as I remember, he made very few changes. He's got more options now, which is nice. You know, the centre-backs, there might be one of the 2 centre-backs might rotate, one of the 2 strikers or wingers might rotate, but I think at the end of the day, I think Ten Hag's not going to do what some fans maybe think the Europa League is for. He's just going to go out and try and win them all. Because there's 8 Europa League games now as well.
Yeah.
But United do have options. But I do want to... So, predictions.
Yes.
We said about the Europa League, FA Cup, Carabao Cup, Premier League of the competition, and Community Shield. So you've already said you think United are winning the Community Shield.
Correct.
Premier League. You've got to predict. You know, like, can you know what's going to happen? Where are they going to finish?
We're going to finish in... Oh, man. It's going to be a very difficult Premier League this year. I think we'll finish 4th. I wouldn't mind if we finish 5th or 6th, but I think we'll finish 4th. Just about. He'll get it done. Yeah, 4th. What about yourself?
I reckon we're going to have... Do you remember, what was it, 17-18, when Liverpool had that season where they won every game like 4-2 or 4-3, or like they lost the games 3-2 kind of thing, where they ended up finishing 4th, and it wasn't the world's greatest season, but they showed what Klopp looks like, what Klopp team looks like. I reckon we're in for one of those. I think we're going to score a fair amount of goals next season, which is, I want to see us scoring like 80, 85 goals across the competitions, because you've got 8 Europa League games minimum, plus then round of 16, quarters, semis, final. We've got, let's say we get to the final of every competition, which is unlikely, but that's about 62, 64 games. Wow. I reckon we've got a lot of goals in us, because we've got the options up front. Yeah. We do. I think Højlund's going to get better, Xerxes going to get better, Rashford, I hope. This is all on the assumption that, Garnacho improves, Rashford improves, Ahmad improves, Højlund improves, Xerxes has a half-decent first season, Bruno does his Bruno thing.
Now, Rashford's here this season.
I reckon Rashford's in for a good season. But I think we're going to come 4th.
Yes.
Part of me would be surprised if we actually don't finish in the top 4. But I think we're in for a season of goals. We're in for a season, and we're going to end up scoring our way into the top 4. Ooh. In terms of the cups, I think... I want to be positive. I'm going to say we're going to win the Europa League.
Yeah.
Because I think Ten Hag's going to take that dead seriously. And I think the players, because of the way we got into the Europa League through winning the FA Cup, I think the players are going to take the Europa League dead seriously. Because there are times when maybe the players don't, because it's not the Champions League. But it's not like we dropped into the Europa League. We gained the Europa League through winning a trophy, beating Man City. I think the whole momentum going to the Europa League, I think the whole club's going to take that seriously, and I think we're going to win that. Yeah. FA Cup, Carabao Cup, don't know, but that's kind of luck of the draw, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
But I think we'll go far. I want us to hit the semis or the final in at least one of them. I want us to be in the quarterfinals of all of them. Because if we get to the quarterfinals of the Carabao Cup and we come up against Arsenal and Arsenal win, but we put up a good fight, it's like I can't really complain too much. But I'd want to see us in the semis of both.
I feel like we're on the same page. So Champions League and a trophy. He has to pick up a trophy. Or finals, you're saying? Finals or quarterfinals. So a high place in a competition, and then definitely Champions League.
Oh yeah, Champions League. I want and I need.
Yeah.
I as a fan, I need the Champions League. I'm sick of the Europa League. I'm so sick of that competition. But I reckon Champions League is a must.
Yes. Yeah.
Well, okay, it's a must, but if he doesn't get it, I'm not going to call for him to get sacked unless
I agree.
We didn't get it because everything went completely tits up.
Rubbish, yeah.
But no, yeah, a trophy is a must. I think we both said this, and Champions League is 95% a must. Yeah. But as long as we see, I don't want to get the Champions League the same way we did before, where it was like we got the Champions League, but it felt like a bit of like we scraped our way into the Champions League third, but it wasn't a sustainable third.
Yeah.
I want a sustainable third. It's sustainable, get into the Champions League, score our way there, and win a trophy.
Yeah.
And I think that's going to happen as well. I'm not just hoping for this. I do think that's going to happen. Touch wood. Good man.
What does that look like? What does sustainable look like? Because I know that they're saying that they're using all the buzzwords, and what does that look like? I really want to know what their game model is this season.
Sustainable for me is being able to trust my players. So remember when Marcus Rashford the first season, Marcus Rashford was sustainable because I could trust him to score. He scored 30 goals.
Oh yeah.
That's what I mean. Game. Like I can trust that. Bruno Fernandes will have a good game. I can trust that Lisandro Martinez and whoever's his centre-back partner will keep us safe. I can trust Onana. I don't know how much I can trust him. I do like Onana. He's always got a bit of about him.
Yeah.
Okay, I can trust that we're not going to concede 20 shots a game.
Yes.
That's what I mean as sustainable. Like I can go into a game going, I know we can win this because we've shown it. That's what sustainable means to me.
Yep, with you.
Yeah.
With you.
Trophies. That's it. I just think I want to win another trophy. It'd be disappointing as well if we don't win another trophy because we've won 2 under Ten Hag. First 2 seasons.
No, I think he will win I think he will win a trophy this season. I think that's his thing. You know, he said it like he said.
He's won a trophy like every season.
Every season. Yeah. So I think he and like you said, he plays the strongest team. So he'll always, you know, approach it in the right way. I just think the style of football thing. I think that's all what this season's about. Setting the foundation of the game model, going forward into the next season. Because I want to see him for another at least 2 or 3 more seasons now. But it's like, we need a game model that's kind of that he's able to approach and execute consistently and sustainably. But I feel like it's going to be almost like how Real Madrid is. Like Real Madrid kind of play to what the opponent is vulnerable at. So if they you know risk a lot of space in behind, then you know they will play counter attack and then they will go and attack the space. If they are a team that you know is not able to do that or you know likes to give away the ball or not play with the football, then Real Madrid lines will come up and try and press them. So and that's kind of the approach I think we'll have going forward. It will kind of be what the situation demands. Man United will produce, I think. We'll see though.
Final couple predictions. I want to give you I want you to say who you think your player of the season is going to be and who do you think the surprise of the season is going to be.
Wow. This is Ahmad's year, so I don't think it's a surprise though, but it most probably will be because of how well he'll do. You know, goals and assists. That's what we kind of wanted from Sancho, to be honest with you. You know, he was a machine at the German Bundesliga level. You know, double figures goals and assists. Yeah. Sancho was, but the Premier League demands now he hasn't been able to do it. But you know, I think Ahmad's going to do that, double figures goals and assists. And then player of the season.
Player of the season.
Kobbie Mainoo.
I think Kobbie Mainoo, player of the season. I think player of the season is going to be Lisandro Martinez.
That's not even a bad shot.
Yeah, I think he's going to end up being, so as much as obviously Bruno's our captain and everything, I think next season Martinez will be perceived as our most important player. I think he's going to really like not carry us, but he's going to be a big reason why we'll end up having a good season if we end up having a good season. And surprise of the season, I'd say either Ahmad would be in who's my head, but also Leny Yoro. Yeah, because everyone knows how good Leny Yoro can be, blah, 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 but I think people hopefully will be surprised with how kind of ready he's done it. In the same way that people were surprised, at the end of the day, surprised with Kobbie Mainoo last season. Not saying that Yoro needs to have the kind of impact that Mainoo did, because I don't think any youngster in world football can do what Kobbie did. Not because Kobbie's the best, just because of the context ended up meaning that he could do that. But I reckon Leny Yoro is going to be kind of United's like surprise of the season.
Just quickly, I think Bruno's going to be underappreciated as per usual. He's going to do everything again, and he's going to be a massive, you know, impact for our team. But I think Rashford's going to be back. I just feel like I feel like he's going to go and score a lot of goals again.
I hope so. Yeah, we need Rashford, because Rashford on form, man. There's fewer players I think I enjoy watching more than Marcus Rashford.
So direct.
On top form. Oh, it's beautiful because it's so United. Isn't it? Like it's like I remember when we played Arsenal season 4 the 3-2 game.
Yeah.
Where I was seeing Arsenal fans say, "I've never been so scared of a player ahead of a game than Marcus Rashford on that left wing going to the Emirates." Brilliant player. But Yusuf, wow. Marcel, thank you so much for coming down.
Appreciate
As
it.
always, massive appreciation. And predictions, we're predicting good season, good times ahead.
Yes.
Good pre-season at the Emirates. I'm really messed up on my words here. In the USA.
Yes.
Beating Man City, first game of the season, Fulham, 5-0 win. All of that. Well, I mean, no one said that, but you heard it here first. 5-0 win against Fulham. But thank you very much for watching the podcast. As always, we hope you enjoyed. If you have any thoughts on what we said, leave a comment in the comments below. I'm really struggling here. Like on the video, subscribe. Apart from that, we'll see you